This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Welcome to my worst day. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
It was so low, NPR starting.
Hey everyone. Welcome to my worst day. I'm Cassie.
What if we decided to just change the format of the show and do it all in our best Phoebe Judge voices?
No.
NPR.
Christina's
You're
like, I'm
listening. At
playing.
the top of the hour here, we have a really funny conversation that was brought to our attention by a listener.
There you go. Launch into it.
Okay. Well, I do have something I want to bring up, which is something that was brought to our attention in our worsty group. And that is something that we have kind of touched on before, but I think it's really important. And I'm not going to put this person's name out there, but I just want to kind of have this conversation because I think it's a good conversation.
Right.
I need some opinions. I'm 27 years old, work full time as a barista, and I still live at home with my parents. Is that something that would be a turn off in the dating world? My 20s have been hard, to say the least, mostly spent dealing with my mental health and just staying alive. Girl, hear you. That's what your 20s really legitimately is.
And sometimes longer.
Yeah. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not ideal, but I also don't feel like it should count against me. And financially, it's just the best option for me right now. Anyone else in the same boat? I have lots of thoughts.
I have tons of thoughts. I personally think, well, number one, your 20s are rough.
Yeah.
Wherever you are. But
if somebody
right
told you,
now, if I had to be in my 20s right now, my heart goes out to people that are trying to establish themselves into a world that's had to go through the upheaval it's gone through in the past decade. It's hard. It's hard.
Right.
It is way harder for like Cassie and I being like me close to 40 and Cassie in her early 40s. It was easier for us. It's still always going to be difficult.
It's different.
It's different from like our parents' generation when like people could buy houses and like live on a single income.
It's gotten progressively harder.
Worse,
Like it really has. Instead of things kind of getting easier, I'm sure that's what everyone would have said. Baby boomers would have said, you know, the older Gen Xers would have said that we want things to be easier for our children. They've gotten harder because it's just like we've had economic collapses. Right. We've had all these other things.
Wage
we've had
stagnation.
The minimum wage not moving at all.
Right.
Even though the cost of living has gone up exponentially.
College, the amount of student debt people are carrying now, everything is so much
it's stacked against
harder.
People. It really is. It does. It definitely is not easier. I think the thing here is the big picture is that we have to stop measuring timelines on what our grandparents, what our parents were able to achieve at different rates. I mean, we see the memes all over the place. My mom at 25 buying a house and me at 25, like I'm never going to financially recover from buying this Happy Meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's true. Like that. It's just, our goalpost, our measuring stick is so different from what was capable of being done in your 20s versus what's capable. And we're in a different timeline.
Well,
and you can't, there's no barriers anymore.
Don't compare yourself to other people who might be the same age as you who are in a different place financially, in a seemingly better place, because you don't know their circumstances either. Like maybe they're getting tons of help from family. Not everyone has that kind of help. So you cannot measure yourself based on even someone else your own age. Right. You know, they own a house. Why don't I own a house? Like they are in this spot. Why am I not in this spot? Because there's generational wealth differences. There's all kinds of things that could be going on behind the scenes that you're not seeing. And it's unfair to yourself to be comparing yourself in that way. Like, just don't do that. And I know we've made a lot of jokes on this podcast.
Well, and here's the difference. There is a major difference between making a calculated decision based on the goals and needs that you have in your life to take care of mental health, to save up money, to planning ahead and making the right choice for you financially, mentally, that sort of thing, and deciding to stay in your parents' house is one thing.
being complacent.
Just being complacent is another. Because I definitely know people who are just like, meh, this is fine. It's free. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Okay, so I'll tell a story, not naming names, about Anthony has a family member. I don't think they listen to the podcast. Anthony has a family member who is in his late 30s. He lives in his parents' basement. He has always lived in his parents' basement. He does not have a job. He doesn't really do much to speak of, and he's very smart. He makes his spending money. I'm not going to say that. That could have legal consequences. We're just not going to say that. I'll tell you guys off mic. But anyway, they did try and put their foot down and kick him out, right? They're like, you have to get a job. You have to move out. Or you have to get a job or move out. So he got a job with his uncle, also Anthony's uncle, gave him a job in real estate, right? Helped him get his like real estate license, gave him a job. He sold one house, made good commission, and was like, peace, I'm out. And left.
Way.
Moved, stayed in his parents' basement. So they were like, you have to move out. So he moved out, and then he snuck back in through a window.
Stop it.
George Costanza. He George Costanza them. You know how like in that episode of Seinfeld, he just keeps coming to work, and he's like, what are you going to do? And that's basically, he's just like, they wake up, he's in the kitchen eating cereal, and they're just like, well, okay. And then they never kicked him out again. So he's just living there and has no goals to speak of, has no drive to move out or create a life of his own or anything. That is a different situation than someone who is making a choice to prioritize things like mental health, savings, goals, right? And is choosing to be in that position for that reason.
Sure. Or in the situation like my son is, who's living with us, who kind of got stuck in moving out during a pandemic and moving in with us and got behind the curve on trying to get, it's just, it's different. And it's, but at least he's currently taking a bunch of classes right now to get some HR certification so that maybe he can kind of go into that direction. I mean, at least he's doing something,
right?
Other than not doing anything, I guess.
Right. Having a goal. Like, to me, there shouldn't be shame. Again, like, life is fucking hard, and we all end up in positions we maybe wouldn't want to be in, or we all feel like we're falling behind. Like, I understand that, but it is important to have goals, right? About like where you want your life to go. And I think that if you're living at home because you're trying to achieve something,
there's no
it's fine.
That's not a tell on your character.
That's not going to be a red flag for. It shouldn't be a red flag for you right off the bat.
I think
there should be
more so now.
Definitely
more so now. It's not a red flag for people.
Absolutely,
because I think everybody understands.
Lots of people moved back in.
Oh my gosh.
Beginning of pandemic, so many people from LA went and lived with their parents. Like. It was like no one had jobs. Like,
what else are you gonna do?
You're gonna keep paying $2,000 a month in rent, like by yourself with no job for fucking like a year.
That gives me anxiety to even think about.
Yeah,
I know, me too. Oh my goodness,
that's triggering.
So I think there are a variety of factors that you can't just like dismiss somebody right off the bat for making that.
Hear them out
choice.
first, and I feel like you'll know upon meeting someone. For me, it's less about where you live and it's more about who you are. Like and look, I really like him. I'm not trying to shit on him. But if I met the person I was just talking about out at a date and like that stuff was explained to me, it would be a turn off, not because he lives at home, but because where are you going? Like, what are you doing? How are we going to grow together like, as a couple? Like, what's going to happen? Like, that would be the turnoff, not the fact that you live at home, like, and I think that
the fact that you don't have a job,
right. or any desire to get one, you know what I mean? I think that, so when we kind of talk about it or make light of it or make jokes on this show, I think that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about the physical location.
I've definitely seen, people that have lived with their parents that also like treat it like a hotel and treat their parents like the help. That is a big turnoff to
Absolutely.
me. Huge turnoff to me.
There are also
at least be doing your own laundry.
There are also cultural differences too, right? Where it's like it might be more normal in certain cultures to keep that family unit, people living in the house, kids living in the house.
Oh,
and, those things are something to be taken into consideration as well. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Christina,
Uh-oh.
I really need to talk to you about this.
I'll step out.
Cassie's gonna hate it.
No.
So I heard this. Actually, you might already know because I heard this on one of the trending episodes for Daily Zeitgeist.
Oh, I don't listen to those always, so I probably didn't.
Ooh-wee. Okay, so
What's up with that?
there is a new dating show coming to Peacock. Peacock. And it is a Pride and Prejudice experiment in romance.
What?
Let me give you the official description. A group of eligible, hopeful suitors will have to win the heart of our heroine and her court, housed in a castle on the countryside, set on a beautiful backdrop of rolling hills.
Okay, wait, I am interested.
The heroine and suitors will experience that with which dreams are made of, from carriage rides and boat rides on the lake to archery and handwritten letters to communicate. They will be
Christina's
immersed.
Like, Eric, I break up. I'm going to go on this show.
They will be immersed in a time-traveling quest for love. In the end, our heroine and her suitors will discover if the ultimate romantic experience will find them true love. With the help of her court, our heroine will determine who most deserves to vie for her heart. Applications are open now.
I am so here for this. That is
written letters only.
Oh my God.
Your
That
face.
is a dream come true.
I would have
Lit
killed
up.
to be on this show. Whenever
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
Can I just
Yeah.
be in your court? That's what I'm here
Oh
for.
my gosh.
I just I'm here for the cool costumes.
me and Cassie in your court.
Oh my God. Give me
Can you
it.
imagine
Bridgerton vibes?
the shit talking we would be doing? Like, did you see Lady Smith today? Oh my God.
And sipping actual tea whilst we do it?
Stop
and
it.
cucumber sandwiches.
Oh my gosh.
I'm into it.
I'm
As I-
so in
As I
for
do
it.
needlework.
We actually just got Peacock, so yeah, I'm watching that.
Oh,
100.
I will for
Sense.
sure be watching this. I'm not gonna lie.
If I
I'm
was
not
single, the application would be filled out and in already.
Right.
Let me tell you right now.
I really want one of our worsties to do it.
Please,
I know.
please.
Oh my God.
I'm not on
Yes.
social media right now. One of you put it in the group because I don't know if the applications will still be open by the time this episode comes out. So I'm going to put it in the group.
Yeah. I'm doing it.
Do it.
Yeah.
You're like, somebody do this for me.
Yes, I need to live vicariously. And if you get to pick, if you get to pick your court,
We're on your goddamn court.
Please let the three of us be on your court.
Yes. Oh my God.
We have a draw. We've got a hook. We've got use the podcast as leverage. Okay.
I want corsets. I want
I want parasols.
high tea.
I want parasols and gloves.
Oh, I don't want gloves. I want parasols though.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God, I'm like hugging myself.
Where is this being filmed?
I don't
Does it
know,
say?
but I hope England.
They said castle.
They did.
Yeah, they ain't
Oh
many
my
castles here.
Hearst Castle.
Oh, true.
But no, it's
Asheville.
probably like
What's the
a
place in
legit
Asheville?
like English countryside.
Oh yeah,
my
rolling
God.
hills.
And I just want to I want to be wearing like one of those dresses and then just like look out the window.
Oh, yeah.
forlornly.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched like the 1860s house or 1890s house or whatever?
Yes,
Oh my God,
I love those shows.
This is like if this show got married to The Bachelor. That's what this is.
And I've been so about these like gimmicky dating shows like that, Sexy
I hate
Beasts or
Bachelor.
whatever.
that freaks me out. I don't
But
like that.
this, I am
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
so here for it. There was a show that was on gosh, I can't remember what network it was, but it was like whenever I was in high school, and it was like where they took a bunch of Americans. It was like American Princess or something, and they took a bunch of Americans and they had them go through like etiquette school,
Yes.
and then they
I
got
remember
eliminated. Like based on who could princess the best, and at the end of it, you got like an actual title. Like you got to be like you did. But I mean,
never
but it
heard
was
of
one of
this.
those. It's probably one of those like things where like you could buy a title. But I just remembered it when they got to the final like episode. It was like the last two girls, and they got to go to like the place where they would be like the lady of this town, and so they got to spend like amongst your people or whatever.
gosh.
My God.
And those people were probably like, oh.
Yeah, fuck you.
Dude, I'm such a dork that I actually watched this show on YouTube called Townsend and Sons.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
never heard of this.
Okay, so Townsend and Sons, it's this dude that like cosplays like he's in the 1700s.
Oh, we love it.
And he has like this shack. It's a cooking show, and he cooks like 1700s recipes, like the way that they would cook it in the 1700s.
Oh my God.
So it's like over a fire.
I fucking love that. Just a can of beans on a fire.
Oh man.
So it's just like I really feel like YouTube knows me because it's history
it does.
and cooking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Together.
Oh yeah. I would love to watch that. You know what else? I haven't done it, but I've heard a lot of people get sucked down that rabbit hole of watching, like, what is it called? Like mucking or whatever, where people just like, they go along like the Thames or whatever in like high-waisted boots and just find shit.
treasure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just find treasure.
Yeah.
They're like, here, I found a broken pocket watch from 1862. And you're like, what?
No.
Antiques Roadshow,
Oh.
if it's on.
I'm the same.
I
can't
fucking
turn it off.
love Antiques
Yes.
Roadshow. And going to Rose Bowl Flea Market tomorrow. And because Eric's never been.
I've never
and
been.
I'm like,
I've never been either.
you guys,
I want to go.
it is so fucking cool.
Oh my God, let's go.
It's huge. Yeah, it's so fun.
You know,
It's-
we need a dresser. We've been talking about the fact that we don't have a dresser.
There is the most random
Yeah.
shit.
Flea
I
markets.
love flea markets.
Yeah.
Also love yard sales because I'm Midwestern as fuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like, I can get
What
this
are
for
you
a penny?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You're like, do I need it? No.
No.
But it's
No.
a penny.
It's a penny though.
You're like, it's fine. I'll take it.
It's
fine.
a phone that looks like lips. Come on.
If I had a phone that looked like lips, are you kidding me? I would buy that in a heartbeat
Yes,
for the
$1.
kitsch.
Yep.
Just for the kitsch factor.
You can always get like really cool frames too.
Which I need some frames.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
shit. I might have to go tomorrow.
Dude, it's so fun. If you've never been, I mean, of course,
I
like
kinda wanna go
Rose
now.
Bowl is huge. So, I mean, you will never be able to walk through all of it. It's just really
Challenge
cool.
accepted.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know-
I will lose Eric early on though, because he's, at records.
Yeah.
So
Oh, God.
and he's one of those people that has to look through every single
Oh,
one.
no.
So,
No.
yeah, I'm like,
Bye.
have fun.
Catch you on the other side.
But yeah.
I think for Fuck, Marry, Kill though, we should either do romantic,
Well, that's what I was
like,
going to say.
yeah.
I mean, like, we could do a Mr. Darcy.
well, we could, but we did like the Heathcliff. We did
We did those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We could do that, or we could do dating shows.
Oh, goddamn.
Dating shows.
Fuck, marry, kill dating shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. I'm going to go old school.
Yeah.
I'm going to go old school and go with the dating game.
Oh, wow.
Have you
Dude.
seen the dating game
Yeah,
recently?
it's really bad.
Oh,
And there's
yeah, it's
a
bad.
serial killer was
Oh,
on
yeah.
it. Ronnie Alcala.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not
Then-
a lot of
then-
vetting done.
No.
Then I'm gonna go old school as well, and I'm gonna do Love Connection.
Oh, God.
Old school times 3 for the match game.
Oh, God.
Wait,
Oh,
Match
wait.
Game. I thought Match Game was a cards game.
Was it?
I think so.
I thought it was a dating thing.
There's also the Newlywed game.
That's when I was thinking. Okay.
Okay.
Newlywed game.
Okay, so
Okay.
for our listeners, we should
Okay.
maybe explain. So for mine, for the dating game, basically they would bring on. It was very heteronormative. I'm sorry, it was the 70s. So they would bring on one woman or one man. So let's say they brought on one woman, and then they would put a wall up between them, and then they would have 3 suitors, bachelors, on the other side, and they would ask these absolutely ridiculous, bonkers questions, like
a lot of whoopee talk.
yeah, and
on that
So,
show.
like,
see, with Love Connection, a lot of whoopee.
and if you
back in
like
2 and 2.
the questions were like, if you were a banana split topping, which topping would you be and why? Like, just wild shit. And they were always just heavy sexual innuendo.
Yeah.
But it was the 70s, so no one actually said anything explicitly, but it was like the
Innuendo was-
A lot of
Yeah.
mustaches too.
So, big lapels were going on, lots of patterns on that show. So yeah, what about Newlywed Game?
Newlywed Game was you were newlyweds. It was a group of newlyweds who were competing to see like who knew the most about each other.
right.
It's
So they
just
would
a dangerous
ask questions.
game to play. I really feel like that could cause some arguments.
We did that on the cruise.
Yeah, we did. We went.
Yeah, Chris and I were up on the stage.
Oh yeah,
You didn't make it. You guys didn't make it.
I came.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
did. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like you think you know somebody and you think you know their sense of humor and how they would answer, but who knows when you go up for one of
Yeah.
those. 'cause
the worst
That wasn't the
one
show- that
because
was- sorry.
they would always answer like they would always ask this question where they would say like like who's your crush or whatever?
Right.
Who would you like? Whatever.
Who's your celebrity crush?
And then one would inevitably be like, my husband's smiley face. And then the other color would go out of the guy's face completely. And then he's just like Ashley Judd or whatever. And you're like, oh no. You know?
right.
Yeah. They're going to have a fight about this later.
Exactly. And that's what I loved about the show. I'd be like, dude, when they get home,
it's about to get spicy.
Litty titty. Yeah.
The Love Connection is a game in which one suitor, again, heteronormative, so it'd be either a female or a male, would be on a video camera and would be able to see their suitors, but the suitors were placed on like a couch that was like kind of a rounded banquette that, you know, eventually that person would hopefully join them in. And they would ask like, where would you take her on a first date kind of stuff? It was very date specific.
Oh, God.
And Whoopi as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Whoopi.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All very 70s.
They're very 70s, which is a mess.
Yeah.
A mess.
I think they re-upped on a lot a
I think
Yeah.
they probably
Newlywed game.
They
Newlywed,
probably
they were
did.
like, that's too dangerous.
They're like, we've ended too many relationships.
Yeah.
Too many marriages have been cut short because of our program. I mean, I think I'm actually going to fuck the Newlywed Game because I feel like there's a lot of like makeup.
There's tea too.
Yeah. And I feel like it could be anger fucking, which might not be bad.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm gonna go with that. At least it's interesting,
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
at least it's interesting. The other two are similar.
Very similar, in
They're
fact.
very similar, but I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You really don't want to marry either one.
Married for life. I think I'm going to marry the Newlywed.
I actually think
that's what
that
I'm
might
gonna
be the
do,
better.
too.
That might be the better call.
Yeah.
'Cause at least you know things are on the table.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. We're getting all the dirt out. There's communication.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
This is
Might be-
therapy before therapy
might be
was popular.
Difficult at first,
Yeah.
but I feel like it brings you closer.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to marry the Newlywed.
You're
Same,
right. I'm going
same.
to do that as well. Actually, I changed my answer.
And then I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to fuck Love Connection.
Yeah.
Just because you can, the element of surprise.
You can
know?
see them at least.
Yeah. That's what I think.
And let's be honest, Rodney Alcala.
I mean,
Also, yeah.
but that could have happened on the Love Connection too. I don't think they were vetting anybody in the 70s.
No, not really.
I think Love Connection was more 80s, wasn't it?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know. You know, I'm gonna.
But still,
Love Connection feels very
Love Connection
like.
was after Dating Game.
I don't know why Love Connection feels like too like maybe it's because it's called Love Connection where I'm just like, oh, get off of me. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
That's
you know?
true.
Where I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I'm gonna fuck the Dating Game because I actually think that the element of
it's Randy.
surprise could be quite exciting, possibly.
Possibly terrifying.
Well, and let's be honest, it's very 70s. Looking back on it now, you might look at it and be like, no. But at the time, I think it's very much like The Bachelor or like what we talked about with Sexy Beast, where it's like, you're not, everyone on that show is conventionally attractive.
That's right.
By
yeah.
the like beauty standards of the time. So it's not like
Right.
you're going to wind up with someone who's like, you're like, no.
I don't know. The person who got Rodney Alcala was like, no, thank you.
Well, but that's
No,
because he's
thank you.
creepy as fuck,
Yeah.
and he had the cold, dead eyes of a reptile. Like that's why. No shade to reptiles at all.
Of course.
But
We never do that here.
never. So yeah, I think I'm going to fuck the Dating Game, and I'm going to kill Love Connection. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
Oh, I thought I already said. Sorry. I am going to marry the
Newlywed Game?
I'm going to fuck the
Love Connection?
Love Connection and kill Dating Game. Sorry.
You're not going to have a very good fuck with Love Connection, I think.
A lot of eye contact, I feel like, and
slow music, slow jazz music.
it's going to be like sexy
It makes
saxophone.
me think of the Joy of Sex book.
Get
Well, I hate
off
all
of
of this.
me.
I hate all of
So much
this.
hair too.
Yeah,
'Cause, like
very-
everyone
Oh,
that's like
God.
chest hair and
Oh.
mustaches.
I feel like
Everybody thought
it was
they were
for
Magnum
sure
PI.
my very first porn experience was
Oh, yeah.
finding the joy
Oh.
of sex.
just a full bush.
Yeah, it was very 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 intense. experience to find.
God.
I found a couple of things in that Snoop session, and that'll teach you to get the fuck out of your parents' room.
It sure will.
It should
sure
at least.
will.
Oh, God.
On that note, let's take 5 and we'll come back with stories.
Okay.
As a contractor, I choose Hardy Fiber Cement because I've seen it outperform wood-based siding and other hard siding materials. The high-quality craftsmanship translates into beautiful and durable results that leave our customers at G-Fidel extremely satisfied. Using Hardy siding has significantly reduced my callbacks and warranty claims, too.
At James Hardy, we're here to support you, from training materials to resources that can help you generate a greater profit. Learn more about growing your business with us at jameshardy.com/build.
And we're back. All right, take it away, Cass.
All right. So I got this right from Reddit. It says, I tried to reconnect with an old flame I hadn't seen in years and invited her to a party a coworker of mine was having. She's now a single mother and hasn't gone out to a party in years and accepts my invitation readily.
Oh, I bet.
She's like, I haven't partied in years. Here we
Oh no.
Oh, no.
That can go off the rails.
We talked about on the podcast our first time out the bar after a year, and it was litty titty.
Yeah, rage.
We go to the party late because she decided it was imperative that she pregame. Despite my insistence, this was a house party and not a kegger, and that we weren't teenagers anymore.
Right, everyone's standing around drinking red wine, and you're just like, ah!
First thing she does is chug a beer, then slide her jeans down to expose her butt so that people could slap it.
No.
Coworker
No.
party.
No.
Coworker party. Coworker
No.
party.
Oh, no.
She goes hard and ends up throwing up and passing out at 8 p.m.
Stop.
The party started at 7. I'm cleaning up after her, embarrassed all to hell, when she wakes up and starts throwing up again, narrowly missing the trash can. So I had to that I had placed next to her.
Oh.
Eventually, I
hope
get
they didn't have
everything
carpet.
cleaned up, talk to her, and decide it's better that we just go back to my place so she can sleep it off in an actual bed. I put her in my car and go back for her purse. Upon my return, I discover my entire car is covered with yet more vomit.
Ew.
Oh, no.
That smell is never coming out.
I clean that up the best I can. Oh God, the smell. And take her back to my place and lay her down. End of story? No, I wish it was. She decides she can't fall asleep because her clothes are cutting off her oxygen supply.
Oh, God. So
she
hot here.
strips down completely nude in front of me and then passes out. This was my tiny one-room studio, so I couldn't go anywhere to give her privacy.
No.
No.
I
also only owned one blanket, and at this point, it was freezing. So I stayed fully clothed and lay down next to her and try to get some sleep. About 15 minutes later, she gets up and wanders to the other side of the studio, then just stands there. Again, she is completely nude.
Oh my God, it's a horror movie.
I get up to ask her what's wrong, and as soon as the words are out of my mouth, she pisses all over my floor like a dog.
Oh, honey. Oh, that's a vibe.
Of
That
course,
is so embarrassing.
Of course, the universe decides this is the day I should run out of cleaning supplies, so I make a, by now, midnight run for the 24-hour CVS.
Don't
Clean-
leave her alone.
I was just going to say, use an old t-shirt you don't care about anymore. There's time for all of this tomorrow. What is she going to do in your absence?
Oh, no.
So I clean everything up, and then I can't sleep for the rest of the night. Morning comes, and I take her home. Never spoke to her again. Heard she stopped drinking and got married, though.
Wow. Like, it ruined their friendship. That's how bad that situation was.
Can you imagine taking somebody to your coworker's party and
they're like literally pulling their pants
Like,
down?
play the bongos on my ass cheeks? Yeah.
No. Even my friend group.
No.
Having somebody like, hey, this is, oh my God.
No.
Also, I mean, I do wonder what it does to your friendship to see someone standing in the dark, completely nude in a corner of your apartment.
Just pissing.
That's some like paranormal activity
Right.
shit.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen too many like demonic
Hello?
possession movies to feel okay with this.
Okay. So I got this one from the Today I Fucked Up thread.
Oh.
On Reddit. I'll just get started. This happened a few months ago, but resurfaced yesterday. I matched with this guy on Tinder back in November, and we started talking. We hit it off, and after a few weeks of talking, we made plans to go on a date. Before I dated, I wanted to make sure that this guy wasn't a serial killer or anything, so I Googled his first name combined with some info about him that was on his profile. Well, I found his LinkedIn and scrolled through it. His headshot was not one of his Tinder pictures, but I thought it was a really, really good picture, and he looked way more attractive than I originally thought.
Oh, no.
You're like, jackpot.
I thought to myself, this guy is way out of my league, and got nervous. So a couple of times I considered canceling our date, but whenever that happened, I went to his LinkedIn, stared at that picture, and thought, nah, I've definitely got to meet him.
She's looking at the wrong person's picture.
Oh, no.
I ended up going on the date, and I'm super happy I did because we got along really well and have been dating exclusively ever since. Here's where the fuck up comes in.
Oh, no.
Yesterday, I was over at his house for dinner, and afterwards, his little brother sent him his resume for a critique. My SO gives me a heads up that his brother's going to call about it, and so I said, no big deal, and I kept myself busy. While they're on the phone, my SO asked his brother if he wants a critique on his LinkedIn profile, too. I glance over to the computer while this is happening, and to my horror, I see the words, SO's little brother viewed your profile. And that's the moment I realized that I'm signed into my LinkedIn on both my phone and computer, which means every single time I stalked his profile before we met, he got a notification about it.
Okay. That wasn't where I thought it was going. But no, LinkedIn is not the place.
No.
It is not the place.
You don't
y'all.
go Snoopy Pants in very easy.
LinkedIn will tell on you
Every
immediately.
time. Every time. You have to pay, I think, to view privately. Luckily, he's never brought it up, and we're still dating, LOL, so I guess he didn't think much of it. But for a brief moment yesterday, I was absolutely mortified, and I'm still cringing just thinking about it.
Oh, no.
She's all like, this picture's a thirst trap. She's like bringing it up. Like,
Girls, screenshot it and save it to your photos. What are you doing?
Exactly. So you can be like, you just looked once and, it's fine. Hey, I wanted to make sure you're not. I mean, we all know that we Google our dates, especially females.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to Google you.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Background check.
Absolutely.
Reverse Google image search.
That's right.
So, but yeah, screenshot that LinkedIn, honey.
Goddamn
Moral of the
FBI
story.
over here.
But you know what? I want to see the picture. How good was that picture?
I know. She was thirsty for it.
And why didn't he include it on his Tinder if it was that good? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Maybe she's lucky he didn't. 'Cause she might not. She'd been like, too hot. Can't do it.
Okay. About 10 years ago, I was talking to this girl on MySpace, and we talked for about 2 months. We text, we called, etc. She gave me this pretty early in that she had some kind of heart problem, but it wasn't that bad. I was born with asthma, so I'm not one to judge whether I should date someone on something like that. So I finally convinced her to meet me at a mall for lunch. Nothing big. This whole story, MySpace, the mall. Okay.
Yeah.
I get to the mall 15 minutes early and go to where we're supposed to meet. And I end up waiting for an hour and a half past our meet time. It's a long time.
Yikes. That's too long.
I sent a few texts asking if anything was wrong or running late and even tried to call multiple times before I left to go home. Not a single response. So I got stood up. Not too big of a deal usually. Hurt a little more seeing as I spent 2 months getting to know her already and didn't expect to be stood up, but that's not the worst part.
Oh no.
Over the next couple of days, I sent a couple of texts and tried calling a couple times and left a couple of messages on her MySpace trying to figure out what happened. Not mad or angry, just kind of confused and trying to clear things up.
Cassie and I are literally holding our breaths right now because of what I think is going to happen.
Oh, no.
Well, 3 days later, it's Saturday now, I had a computer animation class that ran from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I get a text from her saying that it's her sister and that the girl I was supposed to meet died 2 days ago.
That's what I thought it was going to be. Oh, no.
From her heart condition.
Oh, no.
it's like 10 a.m. by now and I'm in class. So I had to step outside and tried calling her number and no one answered. So I text back and her sister texts me back telling me that she's not kidding and that she died and is being cremated and started spouting obscenities through text telling me that I should have been there at the hospital and I wasn't there, making me feel like shit and still won't answer my calls and eventually tells me to never call or text that number again. I definitely was not finishing the rest of the class that day. So I went home and it gets better/worse. So 2 days later, I'm checking my mail on MySpace and I'm feeling like shit. And so I thought I would check out her profile and I noticed that I'm not friends with her anymore. So I thought that maybe her sister was so pissed that she got on her account and unfriended me and then blocked me. So I made a throwaway account and went to look at her profile just to at least see her pictures. And I noticed that there was a new picture posted within the last 6 hours of her with her friends. And her and them were commenting on the picture like it happened the day before. So the only thing I could think was, what the fuck? It's now been like 6 or 7 days since the day we were supposed to meet and 5 to 6 days since she supposedly died and I felt like shit.
What?
So I messaged her with the throwaway account telling her I thought she was cute and would love to talk and get to know her. And she gave me her number, the same number I was using to text the whole time. I didn't do anything else. I got the hint. She played me and for no reason made me feel like shit. So I decided she wasn't worth my time. 3 months later, I was on a 4th or 5th date with a girl that at that same mall, and we were getting ice cream. And I went to turn around and saw her walking my way, and she saw me, and she looked like she was going to shit right then, not expecting to see me. So in front of her, I kissed my new girlfriend and looked at her and smiled, and we continued on our way.
Oh my God, that was a roller coaster. That is terrible.
Whoa.
You can't tell someone that you fucking died.
And then not only to do that, but then to also be like, what kind of like weird narcissistic behavior to be like, how dare you weren't there for her? Like,
well, and also she ghosted him.
Yeah.
And then was like, okay, she like pretended to be her sister saying she died.
She faked a heart condition.
Real
fucked up.
That is unbelievable behavior.
That's something a therapist should diagnose.
Yeah, y'all should talk about this.
Yeah. You're going to want to put... Also, like, how old were they? They had to be, like, teenagers.
Like, maybe...
Right?
It sounded to me like maybe early college because he's talking about that class. It's a long class, you know, so I'm thinking maybe like freshman college.
Oh, my God.
Age.
No.
Oh, God, you guys, I hate that.
Yikes.
Vive la acción, la pasión, el drama de los creadores de los míos icónicos. En tus pelis favoritas llega el As Featured in Meal. Ordena el As Featured in Meal y escoge entre un Quarter Pounder with Cheese, Big Mac o McNuggets de 10 piezas para acompañar unas papitas medianas, Sweet and Sour Sauce y una bebida. En carteleras ahora. Barapapapa. En McDonald's participantes por tiempo limitado.
Well, speaking of yikes, are you guys ready for my tainted love?
Always.
Yes.
All right.
So I got most of my notes from a really good kind of like blog article on a site called Scandals and Sweets by Cindy. I don't know her last name.
Okay.
But
Cindy.
Just Cindy. Had tons of really good information for me. Thank you, Cindy. Wikipedia, tons of information there. Chicago Sun-Times articles. So that's where I got the majority of the information. I said that, or I couldn't remember what had prompted this, but I think I'd seen it on Deadly Women, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how I first kind of came to know about this.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to tell you a little story about Beulah May Sheriff. She was born in Owensboro, Kentucky in 1899. She, Beulah.
That's a name we haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, that's right. Well, not since probably 1899.
Yeah.
She, early on, at the age of 15, marries this guy named Harry Stevens. Just a local guy that she'd met, fell in love, 15 years old.
It's 1899, so it's like, okay. Yeah,
that tracks. They had a son together, but she was soon bored with the married life and motherhood, and she wanted to go out and party and have fun because she's a kid.
Like,
literally
a child.
And we're heading into the roaring 20s.
That's
now.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So she is like, we're heading into the jazz age. Shit's getting wild. People want to go out. They want to drink and have fun and party. And it's Owensboro,
cut all their hair off.
And that's right. Just get wild. So she's getting sick of this whole like motherhood life. She's like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
This is not it for me. So she starts partying and seeking new male companions. And of course, Perry starts to suspect this, but it was actually confirmed when after a night of partying led to an accident with a telephone pole and one of her suitors. So imagine that knock on the door. Your wife was in a car accident
with another gent.
Right. So I'm sure that didn't go over with the fellow neighbors very well. And so soon after, Perry was like, nah, deuces. He files for divorce and custody of their son, which doesn't seem like she cared that much anyway, because she was like, I'm not really into this whole mother thing. Ew.
Oh, great.
She quickly moves to Louisville, Kentucky, where she ends up meeting Albert Annan. Al is what he goes by.
So many Alberts at this time in history.
I feel like of Alberts.
So many Alberts.
A lot, you're right. Al is, she's struck by him. He's good looking. He has a pretty decent job. But she's a party girl, and she's like, I live for the nightlife. I like to boogie. And so she's like,
do the Charleston.
Yeah. I will agree to marry you if you move us to the big city of Chicago.
Honey, yeah, she's committed to that party life.
Yeah, she is. She's like, I heard about these jazz clubs and I'm ready to go.
So much cocaine.
Chicago bound, Al found a job at a garage. And, he's, making a decent living and, supporting them. But she again isn't feeling like she's being properly spoiled in the way in which that she feels that she deserves. And she is, wants a little bit more dough, and she wants to go out and party and spend her money on drinking and having fun. So she takes up a job at a local laundromat where she then meets Harry Kalstead.
God damn. Beulah.
Yeah. Beulah does like the nightlife.
Yeah.
And does like to party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does like
men.
Dick.
Yeah. She loves the peen. So she and Harry started an affair, and, it's this partying lifestyle, and he's fun and young, and she's ready. I mean, and also too, can we talk about how she's probably like what, 20?
Like, yeah, exactly.
At this point? Like, she's still like,
she's lived
young.
a life, Beulah.
Yeah. She's like, I'm young and I'm here to have fun. I came to party. So her and Harry start this affair, and it's on April 3rd of 1924 when Harry comes over to the house while Al is away at work. So he comes over drunk, and the story gets a little questionable after this point, because suddenly Al gets a call at work around 5 p.m. that Beulah has shot someone who had tried to make love to her.
Oh, I see. You told me you were going to do this. Okay. All right.
So Al, struck that his beautiful wife would be in the state where she had to kill somebody to protect herself and protect her integrity, rushes home to find a dead Harry Kalstead on the floor and his wife covered in blood. So he's like, let's call the police. And so she proceeds to let him know what happened. Harry came over. This is a guy she knows from work. He was drunk when he got here. He had a bottle of wine with him and insisted that I have some with him. And she's stinking drunk by this time. And when he's home, and he said that he was going to force her to make love to him, and asked where they kept the gun in the house because she refused. So they went to the bedroom, and the gun was on the bed, and he reached for it, but she got there first and shot him in the back.
Oh, I see. Sounds plausible.
Is this the musical Chicago?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes. So this is the true story of Roxy Hart.
Oh, brilliant.
They had to give her a sexier name. They were like,
Beulah?
Beulah doesn't
Beulah's
work
not going to
in-
sell tickets
It
in
doesn't
New York
work
City.
in musicals. You know, there's what do you rhyme with Beulah? You know,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Was it, what's her last name?
Anon.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
work.
doesn't work.
Doesn't
It
work
really
There's
at all.
nothing good.
No.
Nothing good
Roxy Hart is much flashier.
there. It is much flashier. And this is everything, I think. Roxy Hart is who she wishes she
Oh,
was.
she should have
For
changed her name. Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So, a lot of things happen, right? So apparently at 2:00 is when she shot him. And when she shot him, the noise scared her, and she was so shook that she turned on her record player to play Hula Loo at loudest volume over and over again because
What the fuck?
well, she spent the next, 4 hours
Drinking.
drinking, playing Hula Loo
With
over
a
and
dead
over
body in the same room
with
as you, like
a dying
no.
body in the same room.
What?
When the police got there around 6 p.m.,
Oh my God.
they found the body, but the coroner said that he had only been dead a half hour.
Shut your mouth.
Yes.
So she turned
So-
up Hula Loo to drown out the sounds of like.
Dying man.
Help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody, please.
So, yes, the coroners at 6:20 said that he died 30 minutes before, which means the police arrived when he was only 5 to 10 minutes dead.
Wow.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's awful. And when the police first get there, Al is like, I did it. He came in and he was going to try to rape my wife. And it is so much like the actual movie of Chicago that you're just like, because you watch Chicago and you're like, that's wild. That can't be true. Murderess Row. Okay. But the fact is that Murderess Row was a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
And women at that time, they said it was like a 400% increase on crime from women at the time.
Look, they're fed up.
I
Okay?
guess.
They'd gotten the
But-
vote.
And that was kind of the case. So see how was happening too is that they knew there was not a lot of strong legislation to help support women who had been dealing with abusive relationships and all these things. So they were getting off scot-free. Like women just were not being prosecuted or not being, convicted of these crimes.
Right.
So women were just getting off. I mean, Chicago was a wild fucking time. But the story keeps changing, right? So initially that was the story. Then it was the story of, okay, I'll admit it. I haven't been completely honest with you.
They're like, no kidding.
Harry and I had been having an affair. I did know him. This wasn't random. He did come over, but I had told him that I was in a delicate state, and that was why I wanted him to leave, and he got so upset and I feared for my life. That's why I shot him. So the story does change numerous times, and I am going to read you excerpts from the actual court documents from, nope, not that. There we go. Oh, here we go. So it reads almost just like the movie. It's wild. So she says that afternoon, I saw he was crazed with drink and I begged him to go. He refused and asked me to take a drink. I did, just to please him.
Oh.
I thought he would leave then, but he didn't. I begged him. I told him that my husband would come home and that he would shoot us both. Then he said, come into the bedroom, and I refused and begged him to go. Finally, I told him, go ahead, Beulah, tell the jury. I told him of my delicate condition. He refused to believe me and boasted that another woman had fooled him that way. And what did he say to this? Then what did he do? He started for the bedroom. Maybe he was a step ahead of me, but he had time. I got to the bed. He was even with me. He grabbed for it.
We
I
both
reached
reached
for
the
it.
gun, for
And
the
I-
gun, for the gun.
Yeah.
And that whole part in the music
is-
where they're doing that on the court, and that's what
Yes,
they're doing on the
yes.
stand. Where it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's so funny.
Like that. Then he said, he put up his hands and said, I'll kill you yet. He started toward me. I pushed his shoulder with my left hand and pulled the trigger. It is.
But wasn't he shot in the back?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
None of this tracks quite.
Like-
Not quite. But of course, a jury could never, right? I mean, a jury couldn't.
She's daintily dabbing her eyes.
Oh,
what
yes.
delicate condition? Does she ever elaborate? Or they're just
pregnancy. That she's
Yeah,
pregnant.
she's
That's the delicate
Oh,
condition. Remember,
I
she's
see.
pregnant, right?
Oh, okay.
Well, Beulah, of course, through this whole confession and everything, she is on murderous row at this time. And while in prison, though she has many tearful interviews with the press, who fucking love her, by the way, and eat her up. She's getting fan mail from all over the country because these are like articles that are being, consumed by the masses. So they're like, oh, this beautiful, they said she was the most beautiful woman to, stand trial, basically.
Chill.
And they were like, she's just a delicate flower with beautiful auburn hair and bright blue, big blue eyes. I mean, they just
Nobody
go
with bright
on.
blue eyes could possibly murder someone.
Come on, of course not. While in prison, she complained that there was no cold cream or powder, and they only played sacred music. Bookies were offering $1,000 to a 10-cent bet if she was found guilty. That's how much Chicago was like, no, she's going to get off.
Yeah.
She's 100% going to get off.
Yeah,
this.
she's pretty.
Yeah. Oh, no, she's pretty. She's good. Oh, yeah. 10-cent bet against her. Yeah. Okay. Women were literally getting away with murder at the time, like I said. Like, this is just, the crime rate had exploded. Beulah was still giving interviews, crying about missing her 7-year-old son, who, I'm not going to lie, never is mentioned.
Yeah, she probably had not seen him for
Ever.
how long?
Since he was a baby, I'm certain.
Yeah.
And she was called the Prettiest Slayer. That was the title.
Wow.
The final blow to her story, though, was her newest photo ops and all those things was that she was pregnant, right? And she basically was like, if they convict me, they're going to have to hang a pregnant woman. So like,
they're just not going to do that. Not at that time.
Thick. Less than 2 hours for a not guilty plea or for a not guilty verdict. Al, who had stood by her this entire time, adamantly supported her, worked his ass off basically to support her, pay for her, basically mortgaged himself to the hilt, was all of this to pay for her trial, the defense attorney, and her wardrobe, which was often like talked about in the newspaper
Like
press.
fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today she wore a muted blue dress with it was very much like what she was wearing and how she looked.
John C. Reilly was the
Oh, he nailed
casting.
it. I
So
I
good.
have cellophane
Me
in
too.
my head
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, same. Oh my gosh, he was just the
Perfection.
perfect choice.
Perfect.
Ugh.
That movie won 5 Academy
Yeah,
Awards.
and Catherine Zeta-Jones
So
won.
good.
Oh gosh, and she was amazing.
So, in less than 36 hours after the verdict, as Beulah packed her shit and was like, deuces. She's like, I am famous now.
Yep.
And I am going to move to the West Coast and push my fame forward as a Hollywood actress.
Some people have no shame. It's amazing.
She said to the press, and I quote, "He doesn't want me to have a good time. He never wants me to go out anymore, and he doesn't know how to dance. I'm not going to waste the rest of my life with him. He's
Wow.
too slow."
Whoa.
Damn.
What a terrible person.
Awful.
God.
Fucking awful. Her hopes to accelerate the celebrity dream, though, to movie stardom did not go
They're moving
anywhere.
on to the next thing, dude.
Womp womp.
Yeah,
Yep.
after her divorce from Al in 1927, she meets and marries Edward Harlib, who was a former boxer and garage owner, and claims abusive relationship. Apparently, they had a very volatile relationship. And he was also possibly married before, so there was that minor issue of him having another wife named Inez and a child, but no big deal.
Okay.
After divorcing Edward very quickly, she then meets Abel Marcus, but
My God.
a fourth marriage was not in the cards for Beulah, as she was stricken with TB and was sent to the Chicago Fresh Air Sanitarium at the age of 28, where
What?
she lived out just her last few days.
Ma'am.
Holy shit,
Listen,
dude.
she was here for a good
burn
time.
bright.
Not
Not
a
a
long
long
time.
time.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, the other side of the story. This was all made famous because the story, along with some of the other women's on Murderous Row, like Beulah. There's also Belva Gartner, whose story is Velma. and Sabella Nitty, who also got so this was also one of the things that was happening at the time. A lot of beautiful white women were getting away with murder.
Oh, well,
but
yeah, of course.
if you were an immigrant like Sabella, who was Italian, maybe not quite as pretty, didn't have a lot of money, you weren't getting off as scot-free.
Wow.
But she had some very good Italian lawyers come in and give her a very nice makeover. So a lot of things were, it was very, very scandalous at the time, and just people were getting away with anything. But
there's another case that I feel like I heard of that was around this same time where they mentioned Beulah's case and that sort of thing, where the press was just awful to this woman because she was ugly.
Could have been her. Because they did not. She was ugly, and I'll show you a picture of her.
And I believe she got convicted. So I don't know if it's this Italian, but they convicted somebody. It was like the headlines and stuff. I was like, God damn, that's brutal.
Well, the headlines came from a really young and up and coming writer at the time. She was a brand new beat reporter. Her name is Maureen Dallas Watkins, and she would go on to write a little play called Chicago. Of course, that was turned into
a musical. A great musical
movie. And so I mean, the legend lives on. And the Belva Gardner story is very much Velma. I'll tell you a little bit of it, kind of a 2-for-1 here. But Belva Gardner, she was divorced from a very wealthy man, had a lot of money. She used to be a cabaret singer. Like, that is how she got her start. She married a much older man, had a lot of money. This was a guy that she was seeing at the time, ended up dead in her car with a gunshot wound to his head. So she was found upstairs in her apartment in her robe and being like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
I blacked out.
I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember. So her whole story was, I just don't remember what happened. And that bitch got off too.
Wow. What a time. Time to be alive,
right?
What a time to be alive, white and pretty.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm just like, I'm not getting away with that shit in Chicago in 1920.
Rich.
Yeah,
and
I know you are pretty.
But I'm not white.
It's true.
And thank you.
And with enough cold cream and powder. I don't know. I just,
the right clothes.
Girl, you guys, I gotta be honest. I got pictures of Beulah, and I'm like, yeah, she's
it's fine.
She's a white woman.
But I'm like, I'll give that to you.
You nailed that. But I'm like, is she the prettiest person I've ever seen convicted of crime? No.
Yeah, beauty standards definitely change.
I feel that way when I'm watching Snow White too. I'm like, this bitch. Like, I mean, it's just, and she's drawn, and I'm like, she's fine. Yeah. She's the fairest in all the land.
All?
Really?
All? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Where does the land?
Yeah, what are the boundaries
of land? Right.
Where's the border?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really see that many other people.
You don't see that many other women, period. There's 2 women in that movie.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's an island of 2 women, and she is the fairest.
And lots of dudes.
Yeah.
And they all think she's hot.
She's the fairest.
Well, that was a really good one.
That was a wild ride.
Wow.
It's good.
And it's wild that it's true. So it's like definitely a story, right? Like, because of obviously the fame. But the wild part is that it is true. Like, the wild part is like
that it follows so
closely that I was like, literally, like, I feel like I need to watch this movie again. It's been a long time. But this is Beulah.
Oh, at the time, yeah. She was probably hot at the time.
Pretty, but she's not like.
She's not 2021 beauty standards.
I don't even think and that's my point. Is, I mean, I've seen pictures of my great grandparents and shit from that time, and I'm like, I don't know. My great grandma would knock your ass out.
But see, look up a picture of like Clara Bow.
Okay,
yeah, for sure,
beautiful.
But also the same kind of that
small lips,
that
big
shape,
eyes.
Yeah, that is very, very much the look of the time. Mary Pickford also.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Oh no, I think she looks kind of homely. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm not going to pull up a Clara Bow picture because I feel like I must.
Well, we'll let you, the listener, be the judge of that when you look at our Instagram and comment on whether or not you think she's hot. Clara Bow, but it's similar.
It's similar.
Yeah, it is.
They have very similar. It's the big eyes,
small lips.
Yeah.
Clara Bow looks like a cartoon character though, almost, because her eyes are so big.
Betty Boop, right?
Yeah. Well, Betty Boop was actually a black woman.
Oh, I thought Betty Boop was drawn after her.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I know. There's a whole
based
story.
off, yeah. Do you know I actually I cannot watch black and white cartoons.
No, I know. You think that they're creepy.
No. They're very like herky jerky.
I don't like it.
It's very unsettling to me.
You don't like the
and I also don't
Mickey
like
Mouse on the ship?
No Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
No old Betty Boop cartoons. They're really even just thinking about it gives me
that is so funny to me.
That is funny. So I guess what you've not been watching this week.
Exactly. Not black and white cartoons. No,
right.
That's for sure. What have I been watching this week? Geez. Okay. This is kind of embarrassing, but I'll tell you.
Please.
I didn't get I took like when I was done with work and it was just like a long day and I was like, I just want to lay down before we prep dinner or whatever. So last night around like 4, I went back into our bedroom because that's where like the AC is better and it was hot or whatever. And Eric's like, put on Babe.
No, the Pig movie?
Yes.
Oh no, that'll do, Pig.
Oh,
Did you cry?
Yes. When the pig, when Babe like does all the sheep and and everyone stands up and cheers, sobbing. Sobbing.
You crack me up with the stuff that makes you cry. Like it's
that's the shit that
funny
makes
to
me cry too. That shit makes me cry every time.
I'm just so proud of you, babe.
I know. I know. It's like when a good thing happens to a good person or creature.
An animal? Forget it. For an animal?
And a cute little pig.
I refuse to watch anything with a sad animal movie. Fuck off. Never.
Oh,
never.
My God.
Which I should also say, when I recommended that show, gosh, what was that show you had asked me about about the murderers? Redemption, I think.
Oh yeah.
I do want to give a trigger that there is a dog death in that, and so I just want to. It's probably too late if you took my recommendation and you're watching it. It's too late. But for everyone else who's like, maybe I'll add it to my watch list or whatever, there is dog death in it. So please just proceed with caution.
But that movie, Babe, has like a 97% Rotten Tomatoes.
People need to feel good.
It's just
people
like,
need to feel good.
Such a good movie. I haven't seen it obviously like forever, but yeah, I was a
so
blubbering
funny.
mess watching Babe the Pig.
That is cracking me up. That like you were just like Eric was like, put on Babe.
Yeah,
it'll help.
And it did.
Well, a couple things. I've been spending most of my time. YouTube is a wild fucking place right now.
Oh, it's
there is YouTube drama, and I have gotten so wrapped.
What's the goss?
In
here I
this shit. So there's this woman who is like out of her mind named Gabby Hanna. Oh my gosh. So she's been hated for like a while. Like people have been like, oh, she's difficult, she's hard to work with, she's terrible. And so she's been saying, she's like, I'm gonna make my own docuseries where I expose all of this shit. So she's done that, and she's just like releasing videos where she's like addressing this, addressing that. And so she's basically laying it all out to make herself the victim, and then people are making their own videos and they're like, let me tell you the actual story with receipts, fucking recorded phone calls, like fucking text messages. And then so I've been watching all that, and then I've been watching my guy who analyzes behavior, who's analyzing all of their videos.
I love that guy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's like, you see what she's doing right here could lead you to believe this thing. And I'm just sucked into this fucking drama. I'm checking her Twitter to see if she's going to respond to like any of this stuff. I'm just like,
YouTube drama is...
I'm down the drama rabbit hole.
Yeah. Dude, that guy did Brittany and Jamie Lynn.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah.
Where he analyzes both of their videos. Like,
dude, Madonna's like, I'm coming to get you.
Brittany, hold tight.
Yeah.
She's gonna helicopter in, drop the ladder.
Oh my God.
Come on
yes.
up.
Apparently there's a new podcast coming up that's like all about Madonna. Like her life, her rise, and that sort of thing. I'm kind of interested.
I bet her life is interesting.
I'm nervous.
I love.
I know.
Madonna.
There's going to be some weird shit. She was famous in the 80s. Like,
that's true.
But I mean, who among us?
I love Madonna. And I know she's like weird now.
Yeah.
I love a ton. I can't
She's
help
always
it.
kind of weird, but that's part of her appeal.
And that's what happens when you get fame and like you're, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just warped in reality.
And she's
Yes.
got Madonna money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
please.
You're not living. You're not living on Earth.
She is not losing sleep over
No.
those words I just said.
No.
She's not losing sleep over anything
Shit.
anyone says
No.
about her. She's living her life.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good
Crushing
for
the
you.
game. I also started watching Manifest because people
Oh,
were
is that
talking about
that's
it.
the one that they were like, you were disappeared 5 years
Yeah,
ago. Or
that
whatever.
was 5 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. People were like it's so good, and it was like number 1 on Netflix, and they're like, I can't believe they're canceling it, and there's petitions to bring back Manifest. So I was like, well, shit. I guess I should watch it and see what all the fuss is about. It's fine.
I didn't love it.
I want to watch that sex life.
I
show.
do too.
I
You
haven't-
know that shit sounds
It's
good
supposed to be
as
spicy.
hell. Well, you
it's
know
like,
it's
you see-
true.
It is it?
Okay, so it's based off of a true like novel, like you know, it's some semi based off of. But the woman who wrote it, it was like her literally writing down all these sexcapades that she had when she started like she was like, my life was getting boring, and she's like, I kind of wanted to relive it without like reliving it, right? Like
Right.
without like fucking off on my husband, who you know. So she just started like writing it almost like diary style. I think I read like a whole article about it, and I'm like, that's interessante. But
No.
it is a book.
Yeah, and it's also supposed to be like they show
Yeah,
a lot.
everything. Yeah,
They show everything.
everything.
Everything. I'm like,
I gotta go to that timestamp. There's like that viral like. It's viral on TikTok where they record reactions. They're like, go to sex life this season, this minute.
Oh,
And everybody like they have their reaction where everyone's like, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't even know if I want to watch the whole series. I just want to watch just that clip.
okay, all right.
Yeah, interesting.
We'll do it for our Instagram stories.
Just reaction.
yeah.
Oh, my eyes.
If I had to see it, you do too. Yeah. I am barely watching any TV right now just because I have so much freaking homework. But I did for my my homework recently. So in my philosophy class, we have to watch a movie, and I just had to watch The Social Dilemma, which you guys had watched and was 100% on my do not watch list because
right.
I do not want to know. And my professor was like, "Oh, but you will," and I
demand it.
I have feelings
Yeah.
that I don't love.
Yeah.
Well, let me say, I'm off of Facebook and Instagram, and it's good. Like, it's a good feeling. I won't be off of it forever, and I know that social media serves a purpose, and I've actually defended social media on this podcast before because I think that it's a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
There's good stuff and there's bad stuff. But I think it is good to watch that documentary and just to have the knowledge of like what's going on.
Anything that you do, if you're mindful about it, is always going to be better. But sometimes I do find myself mindlessly scrolling or doing things where I'm like, why am I doing this? You know, being mindful about you being the product. You are
That's
Facebook's
right.
Yes.
product.
Yeah.
That's right.
Being mindful about everything about social media and choosing to go on there and engage with like the My Worst Date group or whatever is one thing. But yeah,
if you're just reading comments, scrolling, reading more comments, let me tell you the number of times in the first couple days after I got off them and deleted the apps from my phone, the number of times I picked up my phone and went and clicked on where my Instagram tab, thing would be, or the number of times while I was working,
keep opening pages,
right? Yeah. Or like the number of times I was working and I like had like a lull in my work and my fingers literally just did FACE,
Oh,
like
no,
to go to Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just when that starts happening where it's just this like impulse that your body does because it's a habit that you've been doing for so long, maybe just evaluate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be aware of it.
It's like any addiction though, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would do it
think
with dating apps too.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like a big thing. Just
Sure.
getting addicted to the swipey swipe. Oh yeah, mindlessly doing it while like watching television.
I mean, I am
or
still on
whatever.
TikTok. I mean, I don't post anything on TikTok, but I can waste some time just watching TikToks. I really can.
They're so good. I literally have watched every single thing that Kevin James Thornton has done 5 times.
That's the first thing I did this morning.
Funny.
He had a new one this morning. It cracked me the fuck up.
He makes my day.
Oh God.
Oh, he's so funny.
Well, if you guys have stuff that we should watch, if you have stories that you want to tell because you're out there dating again, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we love you so much. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.